products. Come on.
Oh, right. Well, hey, I appreciate
January.
it. I love it when you give me an update, so I'm always going to waste some of your time early on.
Oh, that's fine. It's not waste. It's fine. I think the audience like it.
Let's talk about. Let me give you a quick update on 5G because that seems to be a hot subject and it's getting more and more intense.
Yeah, it's getting more on the cards. Yeah.
Right. At Body and Line, I spend a lot of time, and often we've talked, and I've been in Raleigh, North Carolina, where I'm actually get in a bucket truck and go up and interrogate 5G towers, and I'm looking for things that are abnormal. If I've seen over 150 of them, you kind of get a pattern to look for.
Yeah, I bet you do.
Okay. Here's the biggest difference in the last 90 days is that now I only got to go about a quarter of a mile to get to the next 5G pole. Okay.
Coming nearer, you mean?
Yeah, they're coming more dense. So this densification investment that AT&T and Verizon made in order to get more cell towers closer. And my trimeters show me a significant increase in the power per pole. Okay. And I watch this very carefully because I can actually take a meter, just a simple volt, an AC current, and a ring caliper, put it around the wire, and it's going to tell me how many amps are running up the tower. And I write that in my book. There's a lot of things I can learn without breaking the law, okay, about what's going on in the cell tower. And oftentimes you'll see me in my green vest, and I'm up with the gentleman repairing it, because I know the company well that does those, and I'm able to ride up with them. And I write down the serial numbers. I write down as much as I can about that GPS, that location. Well, what I found in the last 90 days, and 30-some poles that I visited, that the amount of power that's going up to the pole is going up. Okay, the amps, the actual amps. There's 3 wires that go up there that bring power up to a cell tower. And it's only there to operate the small electronics that move the data up and down, but it's mostly broadcast. Okay, those EMF waves that are getting created. So, area in the last 90 days, if you've noticed more headaches, if you've noticed more biological issues in your body, it's because they've ramped up the power now. I think it's Christmas time. They want people to have a better experience for their cell phone, right? So they ramp up the power so they're faster and they're video streaming, doing all the things to excite the market a little bit. But in Raleigh, North Carolina, Durham, North Carolina, some of the surrounding areas, I'm seeing a lot more electricity being pumped into these poles, more energy, and then more suffering from the folks that are sensitive to EMF. So I continue to monitor my body and other bodies around me on what's happening, so I can see through muscle testing and galvanic skin response and other naturopathic approaches we have to the body to see what's going on. And now you can see me walking up to a pole 100 meters away. I'll measure what's going on through muscle testing, and as I get closer, my muscles are just collapsing. I don't have near the strength that I have. So as I get to them, it's an all-time bad for me. It's just, you just think I'm like a zombie, and I'm not going to tell you there's not a psychosomatic effect, right? Unfortunately, I'm a human and I'm going to see things. But when you test it over pole after pole after pole, okay, you get rid of the psychosomatic effect, right? And so as I walk up, now I do the same exact approach, and I have one of our devices on it, right? Some people call it a sticker. It's a device. It has a function and provides an output.
Okay, it's not just a sticker. It's not
just a sticker. Okay, there's way more science involved in that. It's no different than a acupuncturist needle, right? It's simply designed to absorb the energies and frequencies and get them transmitted to the body. That's what we've done. Okay, so as I have this with me in various parts of my body, when I walk up, I still see it collapse when I get very close to the pole. Right, there's no doubt that my arm I have a lot less muscle strength when I get close to the pole, but within 20 meters, 30 meters or so, I maintain a very high level. We've done it with third-party companies that do galvanic skin response. You set your hand on this little meter and it measures it. You set up the test, you run it again, you run it again. I'm sitting on the sidewalk with my little computer running the test as we get closer, just to show that what I can map out. So now I notice that I can get, because the power's higher, I see the impact farther away.
So Steve, is there a pattern here? Is it just random with these power boosts, or are they doing it in cities?
Okay, well, I can just tell you the towers that I've interrogated are all in the cities, and they're all, I'll be like 8 on one road, 7 on another road, 13 on another road, where I've interrogated and gone and measured. Now, I could get in trouble for telling people that AT&T and Verizon come up and say, you just said that you've gone to our cell towers and interrogated them, but I just lift up the cover, and there's the power lines running up to the box, right? They're usually, Duke Power has a nice little ceramic box right in the ground. I just lift the lid, hook my caliper on there, and it says this is running at 1.8 amps, this one's running at 32.9 amps, and this leg is running at 64 amps, right? I can see that information, write it down in my book, get my GPS coordination of that tower and go. And then as I get, if I get bored or I'm going, hey, today's the day I'm going to go look at 20 cell towers. And when the company calls me and says, hey, we've got a repair to go on the tower, you want to go? There's two men, a 16-year-old man and a bucket up there, and I'm like looking for serial numbers. I'm measuring with my trimeter on what's going on in the tower. Okay, and then when they turn it back on, I measure use the same trimeter to see what's going on. Most of the time it's a little R&M. It's not.
Mainly city-based.
Oh, these are. I only have access to the city ones.
Right.
It's kind of
because Steve, sorry to interrupt, Steve. So if what you're finding is representative, I assume that's happening all over America, not just in that one state.
Well, I can tell you that in investment dollars for Verizon, AT&T, and T-Mobile and the like, Raleigh-Durham market is a hot market for them. It's one of their first markets they go to. It's good representation. So I can't tell you what's happening in Kansas City, but I can tell you in Raleigh-Durham that I'm seeing an increase in power, which makes sense to me, and I'm increasing the number of them, which they told us they're going to densify. They're going to put more towers up, and I'm seeing more power. I would have thought they would have lowered the powers of the other one, because if they put a new one here, this tower wouldn't have to cover that area, right?
Gotcha.
This tower wouldn't have to cover it. So now I'm seeing this one's higher power, this one's new and high power, and this one's new and higher power. And I don't know if it's an experience that they're after, or they're after something else. But I'll tell you, it doesn't take a rocket science to go 100 meters away and walk closer to a cell tower. Okay, there's a point by which actually in a lot of these towers I'm noticing, you get within 10 feet, the power drops drastically because the antennas are aimed out. They're pretty directional. So if you get too close to them, then your body doesn't get nearly the stress as if you were 10 feet to 10 meters to 100 meters. But it doesn't take any rocket science to take your trimeter and just walk the distance to see the increase in power. It doesn't take a rocket science to go to that little box, lift it up, hook, or just you can buy it at Home Depot, right?
No, it amazes me that the general public just don't have a grasp of this. I mean, I remember when right back in 2013, I went and visited the joint United States Air Force, British Royal Air Force radar base, and it was a microwave radar base. And there were big warning signs up to guys who clean windows because their office don't go up higher than 12 feet because you'll be fried, literally. So nobody was allowed up more than 12 feet off the ground because they would be basically dead. And there's a no-fly zone around it, not because it's a military, but because all the onboard computers of an aeroplane would be fried to bits. Now, that's microwaves. Now, it's no good them turning around and saying, oh, yeah, but that's military, and this thing in the city is civilian. It's the same bloody principle. And so,
it's
evidence there, isn't there?
5G, the frequencies of 5G, if you look at the spectrum, okay, at 30 gigahertz and above, we call that microwave.
Yes.
Okay? It is microwave. It's not military or not. It's in the microwave spectrum. So it is whether or not it's lower power and it may not hurt you, or it's higher power like the military is trying to go hundreds of miles, right, with their frequencies. So they got a ton of power they got to dump into it. Versus cell towers, the hope was very low power. It's not going to hurt you. Your microwave oven operates at 900 megahertz. Okay? So if your microwave can cook water, okay, at 900 megahertz, imagine what the same power level can do at gigahertz. It's going to cook you. Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, that's what the warning signs were, and it was all the contractors who came onto site had to go and get a briefing. One part of that briefing was don't go beyond 12 feet, and it's common knowledge, but only if you're in that industry. If you're not in that industry, no mainstream media is actually advising or giving news on that. And so ordinary, regular people haven't a clue of the dangers that are out there. And that's why, I have exactly what you have, because you sent it to me and I put it on my phone, and all friends and family, I urge them to do that, because, it's not getting better, it's getting worse. And these private companies, who perhaps don't know anything about it, just want to make a profit. So they are pushing it as hard as they can. We've got to protect ourselves, Steve. So what other products might be in the pipe that we might get this year, Steve?
Yeah, well, I want to remind everybody, so for your this is for your cell phone product. We call it our Cell Protect. Cellular, meaning our body, protecting the cells of the body. And this is for our personal electronics. So your laptops, your notebooks, your monitors. These are more economical than the cell phone ones. So you can use these. And then as long as your body is within a couple feet, up to 6 feet away, we see really good frequency resonance into the body. But, I don't know, you and I were on a call with Dr. Charlie. We talked about our Purify product. That was still a major, major opportunity for us. And our number one seller has been our pain relief product. So
well, I'm your number one man for that.
Oh, my shoulder.
Well, my leg. It's my leg.
So now,
it's important though, Steve, because what I'm saying is that actually when we look out there, we think there's a lot, but there isn't. There's very little products out there that actually work. And how can I say it? That the vast majority of regular people not even aware of A, the problem, and B, not the solution, but what can be used to mitigate it. And that's why, I got on board here, because it's so important that my membership are aware of what you've got and they protect themselves. It's vital.
Amen. We grew, thanks to you and others, we grew a 10x in our company in 2021. And this is the most proud. I don't care if we had 10 customers or 1 million customers. What I care about is this fact that I'm going to give you, is that in the month of November and so far in December, of the orders that we booked, new orders coming into the company, 66% of those orders are from repeat customers.
Good.
66. Good. And that's a signal that the product works for these folks. They're not going to buy a pain patch if it doesn't work. Okay? They're going to say, hey.
Well, we know it works. I know it works, Charlie. I said to Charlie Wood that, I can actually vouch for it. And I don't know if he uses them, but I certainly am very open about it.
His son uses them a lot. I'm always shipping them to him. His son is an athlete, right? A gymnast, and always straining and stressing. So his son uses them a lot. So the Purify and the Mass Patch. And so I know that he's regularly uses some of the product and always has his band and his Cell Protect disc, but not like you, that he didn't identify pain that magically or scientifically went away as the product started approaching him. So I think that's a tribute to you.
I knew it would work, but I was blown away at how quickly it worked. That was the shock. We're not taught on this earth that things work quickly like that. You take a tablet, and it takes 12 hours to work or 5 hours to work, and then, so when something works quickly, in the old days, they would have said it was magic. That's the word they would have used. It was a spell, it was magic. But it's science. But it's science that's not being corrupted. That's why it's so important that you hang on to it, Steve, and you keep control of it all, because you're making sure that it's as good as it can be.
Well, I'm going to leave you with one note looking forward to 2022. We are very close to finalizing a product. Today we're calling it Alive, but it's been on several folks now, so we're ramping up, looking for volunteers. But this is designed for just overall euphoria. But what we found in the sample size that it's really good for hot flashes. And so euphoria comes from a great balance of all of the hormones in our body. And what we found was this product, unbeknownst to us, because we were focusing at, kind of awaken us from some of that and get back to rebalancing, because our food intake's been different. The